aspect of it. So I'm not sure kuti tsoro. I can see tsoro nenge no push kwa mdenga wo gama or something, but I'm not quite sure. Can don't know do it. Tsoro ndeipi name? Don't know.
Draft is tsoro. Oh, that one that's played by the guys pamakona pipe draw a checkered board and
okay,
that's tsoro.
All right, so we were talking earlier about the creative industry in Africa, and we're wondering, most of the sports that you and I have grown up playing have been sports that have been brought in to the motherland, but we've never taken many. I think about maybe 9 of our African sports have gone international, or at least are taken seriously. But which sports do you think, or games, maybe let me not say sport, which games could we actually convert into sport? 0719 100 404, whatever game you grew up playing. Okay, so let's hear what 9741 had to say. My matiba mamuka say good morning, thank you so much for listening in. Tibudzebo kuti dzenyu muri kudziita sembambaira kuti dzisa. Yes, Chef Chenge is here.
I actually was going to say she's going to make me say it.
Yes, I just remembered your crime. We are going to make you say it. But not only are we going to make you say it, it's so funny. This man was on our show this morning. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, and I have to play this again. And I've played it like once already, but we're going to play this again just
vavu akizere ketia korada Masai azoto akubebe zanto Bambaira station Okbaden station Bambaira bubunya ngakakaka hazika Dayden ko Munanga gwaza kugwata kukwekwe makwebedain Indizu kurata akubamba masigadei Nda pepe kotsoto hoshikipai kepika kahasigadai.
It is Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's Happy Chef Chenge and Yom Mbambaira.
I love Mbambaira. I may say it funny, but I love my Mbambaira. Especially, I like sweet potato chips instead of your ordinary French fries, your ordinary potato chips. I love sweet potato chips. And I think when we were still doing the show at the other premises, when I think like 3-4 years ago, we actually did a show when I came on with sweet potato chips actually. And I made some on air when we were still doing the live cooking and stuff. I remember I actually made some sweet potato chips. I actually love those in place of your usual. I like substituting sweet potato for potato. Right. So even if it's mashed, like my baby likes mashed sweet potato. So yeah, I like Mbambaira.
Mbambaira. Yeah, that just makes me laugh. I gotta say, all right, let's find out what you are doing to your sweet potato to take out that heartburn. Because yay, the way I love those things, but a heartburn, yay.
Yeah, ichokwadi mabura anoitisa chirungurira. Ini zvangu kazhinji kana ndikapedza kuadya zviya ndinotsunya a pinch of sugar ndokanda mukano handizvinzwe. Plus kana ndikaadya netii nemukaka kazhinji chirungurira chinoita chishoma. Ndikaadya ari ega ndikamwa mvura panenge pakatoshata. Saka ndinoona sekuti pinch of sugar kana mukaka kungonwa tumukaka mbijana zvinobva zvapedza chidungurira cha ndokutoti toenjoy because kana ukaadya uchizotya heartburn yaya unenge enjoy manje.
I wanted to ask that because I've heard that I've never had heartburn.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Lucky you.
I've never had, even when I was pregnant, never had heartburn.
My wee.
But my grandmother has heartburn after eating white bread.
Right.
And she always used to tell me that if you have heartburn, just drink some milk. So that's what she does. She actually drinks milk.
And that is true. Any dairy product, for me, I find, any dairy product, it goes, what beans 3 times a week? They got Jesus. This is death. Death by food, literally. But I was going to say it does help. Any dairy product doesn't just have to be milk, but milk is fast acting because but any dairy product definitely does relieve and lifts literally the acidity.
Yeah.
So that one is true. Sugar, I can see why, because tunungo zote ukaisa sugar, even madomas pepe paunobika anokwanisa ku zipura that acid pinch. Okay, thank you so much. We are learning. Kwimi murukuita sei mabura yenyu kuti mugo kwanisa kumala and ndinomada zveshwa zvenyu mataura mai matipa kuti unotozoregera kakunakigwa uchingohlauti unozoswera ende marwadzira ntachirungurira mai warambwa zvifuva zvese zvikuita sechichatsemuka. My wee. I don't know which one is the worst devil, acid or gas.
Acid is bad.
It's bad. It's worse than gas. You know when your tummy is unsettled.
But guess my one.
When you've got like an active, movement. Yeah.
And you're just walking, next thing you're just
Katukaseka paya zvototi nepamwe zvatoshata maiwi. And which one is worse, gas or acid? We want to know from you. All right, 9091. Good morning, Ganyiwa Pesumuriseko. Let's hear what you have to say.
Morning team.
Morning.
Ishe mbambaira bozve kuti vatokadzidya usina mvura paside or a cup of tea unofira mahara. Kompa nawo yakaenda kupiko kuti dedi mauti kuwadza nembambaira akaenda kupompa nawo ya.
Yeah, all right. We're hearing you. It looks like vanhu vakawanda mbambaira dziri kuti kanganisa mufaro. Zvikaina 2379 ayewa tsoro yedu yemuno ndiyo yemakomba achitora vana vachisa. Oh, okay, you're talking about the games. Okay. Tsoro yemuno ndiyo yekuti vana vanochera tumakomba uchisa mu each gomba panoperera vana wonhonga futi uchisa kusvika usisina pekunonga. Okay, all right. That's our tsoro. All right, we're learning. Mama Vamats and my junior, how are you? Ini ndinowanzo la mabura ne avocado, but pachirungurai papo manje. Eshe, tibetsere vasikana toita sei.
Because they're both heavy.
My way. Yes. Asonengwa nakigwa. Yes. Yeah, our bonda bullet mukumhoreswa pano na Maitanya from Cheetown.
Hello.
Vanenge vakaenda huku. Asi vanhu vekubhonda mune Mskanzwa. I'm leaving it.
Do you know what? Tantiri nani paneve kumambo. Panana mai varambwa yoku Kristen mambo.
Shaya shata nyech.
We were better than yoku Kristen mambo.
As mai varambwa vanongoonekwa in her days, I think she was.
I think she had a good time.
Yeah. I love the way she's like for lake. Anzi mabura anoda achidziya netihobvu yemukaka wemombe inotyora chipunu. Oh.
My goodness.
Kuita kugocha my way you me yo. Ndabva ndatozvifila
mfundi. And you drinking mukambi yesimbi.
Ai Malawi in CBD. Wow. CBD. And you should take them with lemon tea, even cold. You won't have heartburn. Lemon tea. I was going to tuchira. Yeah, I know. Tuchira kamo acid. Okay, we're going to try this one, though. Let's try it. All right. Papa, try it with lemon tea. Say, you won't feel anything. All right. I'm just having a bit of delay getting more audio notes. All right. So as we're trying to figure out our recipes and our games, Chef Chenke, you brought us your one-pot meal. Tell us about that.
And I brought it in the actual pot.
Wow.
To prove that it's actually a one-pot meal. So, what I did is, last week I had said I was going to do beef stew.
Right.
But then I also remembered sometimes we're trying to be economical. So I tried to be a bit realistic. So I know a lot of people can afford mincemeat more than the actual beef. Chunks of beef.
Right.
So I did a mincemeat, sort of stewish sort of. And then I did dumplings on the top. Now the nice thing with that is that now you don't have to cook your rice on the side, you don't have to cook your sadza on the side.
Yeah. Everything
is just cooked in there and you just eat kawan.
Okay.
Now this dumpling, it sort of has a bit of a bready texture, but because it's also absorbed some liquid, it's also just a little bit soggy, but it is a bit heavy, so it's filling like that.
All right. In one of the again, my dumpling do it up in Ichkaranga.
It's chingwa, sort of. Because it's made from flour, your baking powder, so it tastes. It kind of tastes like bread. But it's supposed to be filling, so yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And then for the mince, I just did your ordinary mince at home. So it's just your mince meat. Like my Warambwa said last week, things should be balanced. So there's your mince, there's your carrots, there's some potatoes, ndazokanga ngokanda ma green beans because I keep green beans in the freezer, so ndazokanga no makanda in. There's some green pepper, red pepper, and then I just did a spice mix like this. I think a bit of garam masala, there's some curry powder, paprika, and then when everything was cooked, I just tried to chop some fresh coriander and I put it on top. So That's my very quick 1-pot meal. And the nice thing with mince, you don't have to kwatisa for 2-3 hours. Your mince meat, 30 minutes, you can be done.
Right.
And the nice thing with this dumpling recipe, it does say cook for 30 minutes. So I made them small because I only had 20 minutes.
Okay, so walk us through how you make your dumplings. Mugita say.
Okay, they're very easy. So what I do is I sieve my flour. So I sieved about...
Mafet kugere.
They look like mafet, as in they're little round balls like mafet cook.
Okay.
But they're not, mafet cook, they're crispy on the outside and then soft on the inside. But dumplings, they're soft on the outside and the inside.
Okay, all right. So you sieve your flour.
So I sieve my flour with baking powder, 125 grams flour with 1 teaspoon baking powder. And then I put in a bit of salt. You just measure with your eye, depends the amount of salt you like.
Yeah.
And then I took 60 grams of margarine, but you can also use butter if you're fancy like that. And then I used the rubbing in method. This is when you use your fingertips, not your hands, your fingertips, because you're trying not to melt your margarine or your butter.
Right.
And then you're rubbing in your margarine into your flour and baking powder mix until it resembles breadcrumbs. And then I used about 60 mils of cold water. I actually used water from the fridge. And then I put that in there. Then I mixed it into a soft dough. So, after you've added all your ingredients into your mince. Oh, and I added wine into my mince also. I added a little bit of wine, just a little bit. So after, you've added everything into your mince that you want to add, your onions, your gravy, whatever it is. But you don't make it too thick. Don't make your sauce too thick. Then you add in your dumplings. Then you just need to let that simmer on low for about 30 minutes and your dumplings will be ready. Okay. But I made mine very small, so 20 minutes they were done because I only had 20 minutes to then leave the house.
Right.
So I did mine for 20 minutes.
Right.
So you've got your 1-pot meal in under 30 minutes done.
Okay, I think we're ready to taste my warambwa.
Yes.
We want to see. So what do you call this 1-pot meal?
It really doesn't have a name.
Oh my goodness,
just,
ladies! Can we agree that we're actually going to name these recipes because we're dependent on what you guys are doing? Please, can we name your recipes?
Okay, we'll try.
Hey,
we'll try.
Can you have one with folake in one of these recipes, please?
No, folake is meal.
All right, so we're about to taste Chef Chenge's 1-pot meal. I had a very interesting message over the course of the week from someone who listens to our Radio Kitchen, and they tagged me in a video of a woman in South Africa who was tasting wines, and she had to do it in limited time, had to taste the wine and then tell us what the name was and the name of the wine and where it came from, and she was nailing it. She go, when you Saturday, Friday, and I said, yes, this is what he and this woman are on the same level. So he's here, I think is held up that he's here. We're going to put it to this. We did put it to the test actually the last time, where I had to describe the wine and he had to tell us where it was from and what it was, and he got all of them right. So yes, Taps the wine guy is here. We're going to talk to him in a little bit to see how he processes that message. Rodam Tasa, good morning, Shkanzi. Heartburn is better than gas because heartburn affects you while gas makes you a danger to others. We're also asking, we were asking each other, what is better to have, gas or heartburn? 0719 100 404. Have you ever been in a space where someone does pass gas and you're all in there and you're like, what has just happened here? I'm sure you probably had that experience. So we're talking anzi musaida amabura akatonora idlai achipisa neti mufundisi baveneke pa bikubai. Oh, I've never heard of that. Where is that? 6716, good morning, welcome. She's another Bonda girl. I see Bonda girls are gathering.
Let's go, Bonda!
Round the fire. A pinch of bicarbonate of soda on my tongue. Wow. Tell us a little bit more about this. This is before you've had your sweet potato or after? A pinch of bicarbonate of soda, my waramba, for acid, for heartburn.
Soda to other people it's not okay. But those who are anyway kudzidza kuperi ndiko kudzidzisana
ndizvozvo zvikai. Ini ndinoda mabura ane avocado neslice yetea ine lemon asi heartburn inondikuvadza, saka lemon iya yadzoka zvasi uyo ari kubvuma kuti haisi kushanda lemon tea tambogwa iyayo nokuti anoisa avocado zvese nemabura paya asi heartburn. Saka takawanda, I feel somewhat better that we are united in the struggle of heartburn and sweet potato. We're still trying to find the ultimate solution. Mai Warambwa had a solution to how she handles her sweet potato. We're going to talk about this in 3 minutes. Wine the Taps guy is your wine, and I was about to call you wine.
That's nice.
That's fantastic.
I was going to say wine. Do I have
Wine the taps
What's the
guy.
yellow stuff?
That's got a ring.
It soaked up the
It does
sauce.
though. All right.
Alright,
So we want to talk to Taps in a minute as we are. Oh, it smells good.
It's
I hope it's edible.
It is smelling good.
And I just said to Taps, I'm so sorry, there's garlic.
Yeah. That's the first thing I picked up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It smells good. All right.
It's nice.
So
It's lovely.
let's find out, Ruth Chakwania Kuti, what do you have to say about? We're asking heartburn or gas, which is the worst devil for you. But also, we want to find out what do you do when you love your sweet potato, but the heartburn issue becomes a problem. Let's find out what you have to say. Good morning. Okay.
It's nice.
wira hayi taite heartburn unoti ukapedza kudya mambaira unohwira shuga tushuga mbichana haunzwi heartburn. Ndini Ruth Chakwanira paDZ extension.
Thanks, Ruth. So I think nyaya sugar is popular tawa sugar mkaka soda taiwa futi kuti taizve soda kana muchida kuti murarame mala bicarbonate of soda. So my Waramba is tasting the dumplings. How are you finding?
They are lovely.
They are lovely.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and
really
I
lovely.
put a little bit of garlic in the dumpling as well.
Ewa, ka dumpling akakaka pane wabvunza kuti ndo inonzi dombolo here.
Yes.
Dombolo.
Yes.
I still don't know what that dombolo is. I've never heard
And
of
it's but ndobola, I think it's cooked in a. They put it in a bag. I think. They put the dough in a bag and then they put it in the pot and then they put jidina on top of the pot, so that no steam comes out the pot. I don't know. My
very
Warambwa,
good.
you can correct me if
I
I'm
don't
wrong.
know, but I thought Dombolo is mostly the people who are to South Africa.
Yes.
That they use that name Dombolo for. Yes.
Yeah.
Asisa hatina chikaranga.
I don't know,
Zimbabwe tinosimbesu.
but I'm sure the one I'm talking about, because I think I've seen it on Come Dine With Me actually, and he put the dough in a like a plastic and then puts it in the pot and then puts the lid and then puts bricks on top, so that all the steam stays in there. I don't know. Someone out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's it. I think.
Wow. Okay. So I'll say the dumpling dombolo.
It's lovely. It's too warm.
Yes.
It came like literally off the stove into the car.
Yes. So it actually looks like bread. Actually,
Yeah.
It looks like chingwa chango mold. What you get chibora. It looks like a softer scone or mascone, depending to you. Wakadzidza kupi. Bekubonda mnotishi.
Scone.
Bekubonda vatitendera kuti titi mascone. So it actually looks like it's a much softer version of a scone. Definitely moist. The mince is delicious, and I love the combination of the dombolo and the mince. It just smells effortlessly. It does feel like a one-pot meal. And what I also love about your dish, Chef Chenge, the dombolo is still intact. Harina kuita soggy, harina ku azvisikugwisana mundiro imomo, although you can see kuti aiwa ichi chingwa ichi, and the mince is also still well cooked. Harina kunyanya kubikika. Munoziva kuti dzimwe nguva tinobikisa chikafu nekuboilisa zvinhu zviya. That is not the taste I have yet, and it's nice with a nice golden brown color.
And I put some cab sav in there.
I think we were connected.
I'm sorry. I didn't have time to cook 2 pots.
So tell me about the cab sav that you put. Mashoten. At what point did you put it in your recipe?
So
you
what
put
I did is I fried the mince until it started to get a little bit of color, and then I put in my onions and my potatoes and carrots, and then I fried that together. Then I put in my garlic, and then I put in my spices. So when I like to fry my spices off on a low heat, that way I make sure my spices are cooked. So now when you fry your spices, panova paita like a layer at the bottom of your pot, because they're all sticking to the bottom of the pot. Now that's when I add in my wine, because I want that wine to deglaze the pot. So to remove all that flavor that's at the bottom of the pot.
Right.
And then I added in my tomatoes, and then I let that simmer. Yeah.
So cooking time was what, 20 minutes?
Cooking time in total was 30 minutes.
Okay.
I put in the dumplings to cook for 20 minutes. So in total, everything was like 30 minutes.
This is really good.
Cutting everything, I think, was like 10 minutes. So let's just say from cutting to end, 40 minutes. Yeah. And you've got your one pot meal. So you don't have to have sadza and rice every day.
I'm in.
And there's potatoes in there, there's carrots
Yes.
in there. So it is a little bit filling.
And again, none of those things are overcooked.
Thank God.
None of them.
Because my waramba would have shot me.
Yeah. so did you you obviously pre-cooked the potato a little
No,
bit.
I didn't.
You all put it in one pot?
Yeah.
The timing is
You lie.
Yeah, it's just, you just have to have your timings right.
Okay, so walk
Yeah.
us through the timings, because potato irrigate. This is sadza. It's not it's
Like
still very
I said,
good.
when I put in my onions, when I was now frying my onions, that's when I put in my carrots and my potatoes.
Right.
Yeah, so that they could start frying together and that they could mix well with the spice and everything. Then after I put the tomatoes, let that simmer a little. Then I put the dumplings and just let all of that simmer for 20 minutes.
I wish we had a little wine to wash down.
Yeah, I wish we had a little wine to wash it
Nice.
down, but you know.
Guys, we have to take a break from time to time.
Nah, this is not taking a break. We're punishing us.
Sabbatical.
After all, it's once a week.
Nay. After all. All right. So now I'm like salivating. This was really good. Thank you. Well done, Chef Chenge. So that's our one pot meal. We are waiting for your recipes, both of you ladies, for your one pot meals.
Yeah, I have to send you this one. Last week I didn't. I don't
No,
think
you
did I?
didn't.
No, I didn't. Yeah, so I'll
And my
send you
warambo
this one.
also. Wow, delicious. All right. Last week had pineapple in it. It had chicken. It had bell peppers in it. This one had dombolo and mince in it. Or also, Chef Chenge, how much do you think you spent for this basket?
I used. It should be under $10 though. Way under $10, because I know my mince. I used less than 300 grams. I think I used about 200 grams mince.
Wow.
I used a quarter of an onion. I used 1 carrot. I used a little potato like this.
Yeah.
Tiny little potato.
Yeah.
Um,
And to feed how many?
I'm sure this could feed, now it just depends on the appetite, but this could maybe feed 2 to 3
You're
people.
talking about healthy meals. This
This could probably feed 2 to 3 people.
Okay.
Like in my house, I cook for 2. I don't know if I can count the baby. I cook
Yeah.
for 2 in my house. So this would be enough for the 2 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. My Warambo, how much did you think you spent on your one pot meal from last week?
It was chicken. Yeah, I think something like $7-8.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And for $7-8, you're feeding how many?
About 3.
About 3.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not too sure if the camera actually caught it, if
Yes.
people can see. There we go.
We are also on our Facebook page, by the way, so you can actually have a
So
look
I don't know if- can
at
you see
the
it?
one pot meal. Yes, I can see
Should I
it.
put it? There we go.
Yes.
So,
And there's the dumpling, there's the mince in there. Oh, that looks delicious. Scrumptious. And
There
it's
you
a
go.
filling meal.
it is. It actually is filling.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'll get the sadza lovers saying, so
This is going to sound like a weird
Yeah.
question, but do you think it's possible to evolve a one pot meal with sadza in it?
That's a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a challenge.
But both
Think
of you
about it.
are challenged.
Because I mean, we can
Yeah.
do one pot meals with rice. Like, you know how there's the whole jollof rice and you can put your meat in there. I'm sure there's a way of doing it.
Okay. So shall we set that as a challenge for ourselves?
Will
Trying
it still
to
be a one pot? Technically.
I don't know.
Because you're going to have to cook that sadza separately.
Yes.
And then add it to the end.
Is that a problem? I think last week there were some elements we cooked separately and did it.
That's what I was.
Unless
Well, yeah.
maybe you use, you know how there's the steamers that have layers.
Yeah.
So maybe you could cook sadza in the bottom pot, and then you put the next layer, and you could put some vegetables to steam with the steam that's coming from the sadza. Pasosapa maybe no panogona zonetsa, but yeah. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe that could be one thing to
Let
do.
me ask you, Pagango, how do they do it? Pagango. How do they do it with sadza? Because they eat that gango in sadza.
0719100404. Is it possible to cook a one-pot meal ne sadza? And if you have done it or seen it being done, say mai varamba vari kubvunza ko vanoita gango nesadza vari kuzvifambira vose, please let us know. 6929 kwai ndoda mabura akagochwa. Oh yes, comrade Rufuse,
Yes.
I'm with you on that one. Actually, I think that's my most preferred way of eating mabura, kumakanga. My waramba, before we move on to Taps, so Taps, I was telling you, in fact, he who asked this question is actually on the platform, and I'm going to actually rope him in to ask you the question himself that he was asking me.
Okay.
He sent me a link of a woman who was tasting wines. You know, like what you do. Tasting it and being able to name it and its origin.
Yes.
Shikai, when you let us know on 719100404. Have you ever done a one-pot meal nesadza? And if you have, say ma picture chef chenge. We'll certainly do that. We'll upload the recipe as well. We are also live on our Facebook page, and I'll make sure that the recipe is on that page. Chef, not Chef. Taps, the wine guy.
Yes.
Welcome. We were looking
Thank
forward to having you here. We have so many questions. Anzi, you need to know some muma cups to make my dumplings. Shura soda after what mbambaira. Odota. Kula dota. That's interesting.
Each guy meg.
You're not eating
It's
cups
just
full.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Each guy meg.
Kuchairi kudyiwa kudzinga heartburn here.
Ndezve chirungurira izvi. I think we should actually try some of these things out. Yeah?
Kudzidza
There you're on your own.
No, this one I'll gladly
It's
try.
like you with Dedere.
Yes. Oh, Madora.
Derere?
I don't touch.
She doesn't touch
No.
Dedere.
How
No,
about,
but it's a.
Yeah. We understand each other.
okay,
Yes.
how about derere rakafraiwa? Makambodya
I don't touch. Cherishin's derere, I don't touch.
You too, makaoma.
No, one day, no, we should bring the Dedere Vasingas and then we don't tell them it's fried Dedere.
Yes.
And we just tell them to
Come
eat.
on.
That's it.
Like
Yeah.
isamuma one pot meal imomo.
Yes,
and
even
then we
Madora.
make her
As
eat.
long as you don't tell me
Yes.
it's Madora, I'll eat it. But as long as I know kuti igonye, ihoshwa, I'm not
You
going.
are
Not happening.
I'm not in that WhatsApp group.
Oh my
All right,
word.
so daughter, I would love to try that. I can try the daughter. Do you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll try the daughter. Tangata lambambara dzedu. Saka tiudzei more details about daughter. Are we eating a cup's worth? Is it a pinch? Let us know. Kana mshti lai daughter. Say, all right, let me try and get to some of the audio notes that have come through. Taps, we want to talk to you a little bit more because there are quite a questions that have come through for you,
Okay.
so that you can address them. When I was good believer, when I was describing the wines and you were telling us what they were, I think they think that was match fixed. Alas, this is what you do for a living. All right.
Yes.
So let's just listen to my Malcolm and then Taps. We're going to start talking to you and addressing any questions you have. If you also have any wine questions you have for Taps, he's here today to answer and address them. And maybe you want to put it to the test as well. If you want to describe it, but now you've got to describe it to make a sense, ka, so that he can try and tell you what is the name of the wine or the whiskey you are describing. So let's put it to the test. 0719100404. Make sure you get the descriptions right. If you want to Google them, do it now. In 5 minutes, we're going to put Taps to the test and see if he can tell us the name of the wine and where it's come from. So I would recommend Google your wine so that you get the descriptions correct, because ukapaposha or you can't expect him to get it right. So try and get it as close as possible to the wine. If you're sitting with your wine bottle, pull it out, look at the back if you must, get some important details. We want to know where it's made from, what it's made from, and see what other details would we need.
The age, the grape variety, the winemaking style, whether it was made with oak or not. All those details are important.
Okay, so the winemaking, the age, the kind of the fruit that it was made from.
Yes.
Those are, let's go with those three.
Grape
Those guys,
variety.
So the winemaking style, the grape variety, and the age. Those are three things we want to try and put Taps the Wine Guy to the test. When you're ready, let me know that you're ready for us to call you, and then we can put Taps to the test. All right, so let's just listen to some of these messages, and then we get to some of the ones that came through for you, Taps, so that you can answer. My Malcolm in Emerald Hill, good morning.
Musaite heartburn, especially pambambaira nebeans. Pamunodzibika paya zvave kuibva makuziva kuti zvava kuibva, you add sugar zvichiri pamoto, hamufi makaita heartburn, munongoisa sugar muchiri kuzvibika asi pazvinenge zvaibva paya. My Malcolm from Emerald Hill.
Thank you so much, my Malcolm. We appreciate that tip. Notes. All right. So Taps, my Waramba has her tip and she'll give it to us first. But Taps, let's go to some of the questions that came through. So Tedro in Hatfield is asking us, which is better, red or white wine?
Okay, so very good question. Really, it's a bit like comparing apples and oranges. They fall under the same category, but they're made different. They smell and taste different. So I think as a wine lover, my encouragement is that you taste both. You're going to find something. Remember, we were talking about wine styles.
Yeah.
So in your red category, you've got sweet wine, you've got dry wine, you've got semi-dry wine, you've got sparkling wine, you've got dessert wine. So there's a range. You're going to be able to find something that is red, that is unique and very good, and you want to have that in your cellar, but you're also going to find the same in the white.
Yeah.
And remember, in between there's what we call rosé, which is pink. Okay? So it's just keeping a bit of that color from the red skins. And you've got this wine that's refreshing, normally served like a white wine.
Okay. All right. So 6954 comes through and says, why do some white wines have corks and others have a top? Why not just use the simple screw top? And I think this is a great question because this cork business, did I say that right?
You did it again.
You did it again.
Sorry.
Try
This-
pork.
Pork.
Okay. This cork business.
Yes.
Not cork. Okay. Cork is something else. Completely something else. All right. This cork business is complex.
It's complex perhaps, but it has a reason why it's still used today.
Right. For the wine style.
Yes, for wine, right? So originally the other one is called the screw cap. Okay, it's made of aluminium and it's easier to open obviously, but the cork allows wine to breathe. And that is part of the development of the wine as you age it. So
Right.
you purchase that bottle that you purchase once every 2 years. It costs $200 to $300, and you want to age it for a long time.
That's only if you're friends with Taps. The rest of us can't afford a $200
See, why you
bottle.
gotta dress me in borrowed
And I'm not
clothes?
going to keep a bottle
can't
forever.
afford this.
Open and drink.
Thank you.
No.
And then you ask yourself, $200 that I'm just going to drink in one sitting. Why am I doing it?
Yes, but we will
Yeah.
have determined whether the taste of this is worth it.
Okay.
And there's the scarcity thing, and it.
Okay.
Or maybe you're buying it now and it's for graduation of the little one. And it.
Long way away.
Yes. Yes. So it's got value. It's also an investment.
Yeah.
Remember, this bottle, if you bought it and it's $200, by the time you open it and he's turning 18, it could be worth double, treble. And it, so you want oxygen to interact with the wine to allow it to develop. But only enough oxygen for it to not oxidize.
Got you. And that's what the
So
cork.
the cork has its
There we
benefit.
go.
I tried to jump in. And
Yeah,
say-
I had to slow down there a little.
So both are good,
Okay.
okay, and they can be convenient. But there's something about the old school. Remember when we opened the bottle last week and it just went,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You don't get that when you
We
do the screw cap.
got you.
And I'm not saying one is better than the other,
Yeah.
because that's a huge debate in the wine industry.
Yeah.
You get to blows because of that.
Yeah. These words, screw and cork, like, why not just
my
get better
goodness.
words then?
Oh my goodness.
Honestly, this is terrible. Okay, so
I don't think you should miss days off work. You should stop missing days from work.
That's funny. No, it's really funny. And also, speaking to the same process, that's also why wine sellers have their bottle, the place you put the, what do you call it, wine rack.
Yes, the wine rack.
Lying down instead of sitting up.
Right.
It's speaking to the same process.
Question. Okay. So what happens is when you're storing your bottle and its closure is a cork, you need that contact between the wine and the cork, because cork is alive. It comes from an oak tree called Quercus suber. Okay? So it needs to stay in touch with wine to provide the humidity. That's why if you stand your bottle up, the cork dries out and you struggle to open the wine. So very, very important. That's why you see the bottles lying down, to maintain that contact.
Okay. This one says, what is rosé wine and how is it made?
All right, so rosé wine is made from red grapes. If you remember, we've spoken about winemaking and that the color comes from?
The grapes?
From which part of the grapes?
The skin.
Thank you. Thank you. The color is in the skin. That's how you get red wine. So you macerate or you ferment the red grapes with the skins. When you're making white wine, you take the grapes, you press them, get the juice out, throw away the skins. With red wine, we ferment on the skins.
Right. So in other words, it could be white wine made from red grapes. The only thing is the skin has been removed.
That's right. Skin
not
content.
that the grapes are necessarily
content.
white.
Now, when I'm making rosé, what do I do? Instead of doing the entire fermentation with the skins, I might ferment for a day or two, and I get just enough color to stain my wine pink. And then I remove my skins. And now I've got a rosé.
Right.
Okay? You can cheat. Obviously, before other wine experts jump in, you can cheat and you can do a blending, i.e. you make your white wine, you get some red wine, and you blend it back in, and you get that color. Now, rosé is typically served like a white wine. That means chilled, lower temperature.
Right.
And you get it also in your sparkling wine. You get rosé champagne, for example.
Got you. Okay. It's 11 minutes before we get to know Black Filter. We are in our kitchen. We're talking all things to do with wine. If you have any wine questions, go ahead and throw them at Taps. He's here to answer any questions. And we also wanted to put his knowledge to the test. And I said, if you are listening in and you want to see if he really does know his wines as well as he sounds like he does, why don't you send us a description of a wine, giving us its age, its winemaking style, and the type of fruit that it's made from, and then we can put it to the test to see truly if he knows his wines. 0719 100 404. And again, this is the one of the few times you're allowed to actually Google these things to make your life easier because it might be hard for you to know the type of the fruit and things. But in this case, let's put Taps to the test. Google the wine bottle you're thinking about and let's see if he will be able to tell us what exactly that wine is all about. It's 10 minutes before we get to 11. Some more questions for you, Taps. Yeah, this is a very interesting question. Why does Zimbabwe not make any good wine?
Right, deep question. We have actually made some good wine.
When?
Wine. All right, so if you look at the wineries that we had, we had Mukuyu.
I remember them.
We had Private Cellar. We had Meadows Estate. And we had another one, I'm forgetting the name. Okay, but just those three at some point made decent wine. Now, the problem is, I think if you remember in one of our episodes, we spoke about what we call terroir. Terroir is the term that describes the climate, the soil, the winemaking, the types of grapes, all of that put together. Which is why a wine that is made kwagutu cannot be copied. As much as somebody might have land, water, the same grape variety, they cannot duplicate that because of the surrounding. So the climate is unique, right? And because it's unique, it produces a certain taste. Now, our problem in Zimbabwe is generally a climatic one. So most grapes start to ripen, winemaking grapes start to ripen between January and March. Now, what happens between that time?
It's raining.
It's raining.
It's raining. So, What does that mean? It means humidity, right?
Too much water for the grape.
Too much water, because when grapes get rain, they fatten, they take more water, and that dilutes the sugar. So that reduces their flavor, their aroma.
Kwatigone ere kuisa sugar muvhu painenge ichinaya kuti abva atora mune sugar.
First of all, if that was possible, it would be cheating. There's a term called chaptalization in winemaking, where you add sugar
You
to
see?
the winemaking process.
You see? I'm on to something.
Yeah, but remember, we're dealing with our Frenchies who got the upper hand, and they said that is not legal. Keep it natural. So grow your grapes properly, get the sugar that's in those grapes, and make your wine with just
Wow,
the sugar.
are you telling me that the French are controlling this wine process to the T like that?
Look,
How do they do that?
if you now try and make wine in a bad region and you tell the world that I added cane sugar, which is probably what you'd add, they're going to be like, nah.
But legally, what would they do?
No, not legally.
Okay.
It's just that you
They would
are
make it
competing-
difficult for
you're
it to be-
competing with a winemaker who did not add sugar to his grapes. And he's got the right amount of sugar because he's got correct sunshine. It's not raining during his harvest time. So he does not have pests and diseases, or rather diseases. You know, with humidity comes fungal diseases. And once you've got those, you're now trying to treat that, so you have to use more chemicals. I think you see sulfites added on wine bottles. That's to try and fight the problems of fungal infections. So you're trying to prevent that, and that's our problem. We've got these heavy rains in January through to March, and therefore we've got high incidence of fungal disease, except the odd years when it doesn't rain too much. Then you've got that odd year and you can make a really, really good wine. So that's our struggle.
Yeah.
But can we get round it? Yes, we can. I mean, look what Israel's doing. We could put them under a greenhouse,
Yeah.
but it makes our wine more expensive and difficult to compete with others.
I'm just thinking, why worry and compete with the French? Why don't we just develop our own winemaking style that's unique to us? So whatever our climate gives us, let's work with that and develop a drink that works with that. Even ditch the word wine. We can come up with our own and call it Schlein if we must. But the idea is no one then has any right to tell us that this is good or bad because we've created our own standard.
That works if we want to keep the wine within our borders. As soon as we want to take it across the borders, typically there are internationally recognized rules. For example, most countries will not recognize a wine made from other fruit that is not grapes. Even though you've
But we
taken-
no longer call it wine.
Yeah, we don't call it wine, which is the same thing. Let's take a vodka. The moment we add, let's say, mulberries to it and flavor it, it's not allowed to be called a vodka anymore.
Right.
It now has to be referred as a liqueur. Okay, right? I might have just added just for the aroma. Okay. But because of international rules, in most countries and the countries that you're going to want to export to, you're going to have to abide by those rules.
Got you.
That's why I said, as long as we're consuming it locally, no
It's
problem.
fine. Okay. So in other words, isusu kana chaita maheu edu aita international.
Yes,
We've got to set the rules.
we've got to set the
Toti
rules.
ukangobika
How-
maheu ane flour asisiri maheu.
Right.
Usashandisa izwira kuti maheu. Tsvaka rako. Okay.
Saka, for example, we make our maheu muhari. Okay. We could then make that a standard. The
Right.
same way now we're talking about oak.
Yeah.
Oak is part of the winemaking process, and you
Right.
have to define it, what you're talking about. My wine has been made in oak vats, or stainless steel vats, or the concrete vats, and so on and so on.
Right.
For-
Okay. I'm waiting for somebody to help us do this because maheu edu manje tichaimba tikati sort.
Yeah. Where are you looking for?
She's right here.
Yeah, she's here. She's
Actually,
here.
that's a great point,
Ndakavatema.
Maiwa Rambwa.
Hayi,
But
ndakavatema.
that's actually a great point.
Like that pineapple maheu she made.
Yes, and the banana maheu. You could easily patent that and
Make more.
yeah. Okay, that's the point. Okay. So, just let me know if this is enough for us to put your wine expertise to the taste.
Right.
To the test.
Yeah. Twisted today, right?
Yes, I mean, it's a bit kind of okay. So the wine is founded in Adelaide, 1844.
Okay.
its 3 distinct wine production styles include single vineyard, single region, multi-region, and varietal blending.
Okay.
And then he says the predominant grape varieties are. Then he's given us the names of I don't know if he was meant to do this.
I think I can see where he's going.
Yeah.
Maybe he's testing my knowledge of Australian winemaking. And stuff.
Yeah, but on the grape varieties, I actually feel like he's giving us the names of the.
That's okay. But let's hear what he's saying.
Okay, so on the grape varieties,
Australia is known for doing very well with certain grape varieties. Let's go.
So,
I think I know them, but you can go ahead.
All right. So for the grape varieties, he gave us a Shiraz.
Yes, Shiraz typically associated with Australia.
Right.
Let's go.
He gave us a Pinot Gris.
Pinot Gris is more like a white wine, so it should not be in this one, but yeah, go on.
Riesling is on there.
Right, okay, that's a white, which you
have tasted.
And can talk about.
Chardonnay is also on the list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think he wants you to tell us which particular bottle this is, but then I feel like it's defeated the purpose because he's named the bottles.
Well, he's named, so let me put it like this.
Yeah.
South Africa, which its wine industry is smaller than Australia, if I remember correctly, has got about 600 wineries. All right. So Australia's got more. So for me to guess which winery that is out of that region would be very, very tough.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it would be very tough for me to be able to name the winery. There's just too many that are doing.
I get you. So what he's done, he hasn't said Masesere Mayewerechi. What he's done is he is, how do I put it? He's asking you to Masese ayakagadzirwa nani, rather than kuti masesere cannot. Am I making any sense in what I'm trying to say?
Okay, let me help the public here with this.
Okay.
What we normally call what we are doing here is blind tasting. Okay, so the same thing that we did where last time you were telling me, because typically each grape has got a profile.
Right.
So when you tell me, for example, the wine I'm drinking has got grassy notes, it reminds me of cut grass. For me, automatically, I know that 9 out of 10 that's going to be Sauvignon Blanc.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in this case, he's provided the grape varieties, and they form a blend. And I should be able to identify, but he shouldn't have said, if he hadn't said Australia, for example. Now, the moment you say Australia, I think on the red wines, I would have said Shiraz, Cabernet Sauvignon. Right? Those are the first that I would have started with.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do a blind tasting, but he gave out the information out first.
Yes, I agree there. The moment he said Shiraz, like, I don't use something.
And he also said Adelaide.
But he then came through and he says, you are right, you do know your stuff. He was going for, and it is a red bottle that he sent us. The brand name is Penfolds.
Penfolds, yes. Penfolds is actually, that's the first one that comes to mind because it's the biggest brand. It's the one with the most prestigious wines out of Australia.
But you were right in that it's already 11 o'clock, it's time for us to go to the news. But you were right in that you were able to tell that it was not a white wine, it was a red wine. Okay, it's time for us to go to the news. My Warambwa, you said, I'm just going to have to tell the listener, for you to get the acidity out of your wine, what you need to do is to peel. Sorry.
I'm like,
Sorry. For you to get the acidity out of your wine, what you need to do is to peel the sweet potato and then boil it. She says if you boil it without the skin, you will probably not have acid. And let's put it to the test. Remember to peel them, boil them. Let's find out. Will you still have acidity? That's all we had today for Radio Kitchen. It is time for us to be doing the news.
Radio Kitchen.